So welcome to my YouTube channel. So today in this video lecture, we are going to learn how to study the double sideband suppressed carrier modulation scheme. So in my theory lectures, I have already explained you how to generate the double sideband suppressed carrier modulation scheme. So today we are going to see how this DSBSC modulated signal can be generated using multisim. So, to begin with, just try to see this particular slide that I have already discussed during my lectures. So, I have told you that in the DSBSC case, we need to multiply the carrier with the masses signal. Okay, here you can see this expression, time domain expression of the DSBSC signal. So basically what we have to do is we have to multiply the carrier with the message signal. Okay, so basically we have to take the baseband message signal and that should be multiplied with the carrier, and here you can see in the block diagram we need to have a product modulator. So basically in the circuit form we need to understand that basically it has to be a circuit, there has to be a circuit that should be performing a multiplication, okay, between the two signals. So that we have to implement, and this was the basic waveform that I told you that we are having a masses signal. Okay, and then this masses signal has to be multiplied with the carrier so that this type of waveform we are going to be expected. Okay, there will be a phase reversal of the carrier that we are going to expect whenever our masses signal is making 180-degree phase shift. Okay, so whenever there is a phase reversal of the masses signal, okay, here you can see that the masses signal is changing its phase. Okay, its magnitude is becoming negative. Okay, that time there will be a phase reversal of the carrier signal, and obviously its magnitude of the carrier signal will be uh, systematically varying as per the magnitude of the masses signal. So that we have to look at how to generate it. So if you remember, I told you that there is one of the method for generating the DSBSC signal that we have already discussed in my lectures. Okay, that was our ring modulator. Okay, so ring modulator, again, it is also a class of switching modulator. Okay, it comes under the switching modulator. But because of the need of transformer, I am not going to use that one. I will be using another switching modulator. Okay, that we can look at what will be the circuit configuration. So that circuit configuration we can look at. Okay, so basically that circuit configuration I'm going to explain you. So here you can see that we are having this type of masses signal. Okay, and in the case of ring modulator, if you remember, we need to give the symmetrical square wave. Okay, and then these two has to be multiplied, and then we are going to get this type of waveform. So please, I request all the viewers, those who have not seen my video lecture, okay, means theory lecture of this ring modulator, okay, please go to that lecture. I will also be sharing the link for my video lecture, okay, for ring modulator. So please go to that particular lecture to clarify your concept. Okay, so we need to multiply this two, and then we will be getting this type of output, and then this type of output has to be filtered out by using a band pass filter. Okay, this is the basic scheme. Okay, first we need to have the masses signal, then this masses signal has to be multiplied this particular square wave, and then this multiplication will give you this type of waveform. Okay, waveform C. Okay, and then this waveform has to be passed through a appropriate band pass filter to get the this type of DSBSC signal. Okay, double sideband suppressed carrier signal. So that we have to obtain. So our ultimate output will be something empty multiplied with the cos 2 pi FCD. So that we have to implement. So today I'm just telling you that we have to use one of the switching modulator. Okay, so there are one switching modulator that I have already explained. Okay, that is your ring modulator. And today's lecture, okay, in this multi-sim, I will be using another switching modulator. Okay, which is this. Okay, this is our bridge kind of network. Okay, here you can see that we are having a diode bridge electronic switch. Okay, this type of circuit we can use. This is again a switching modulator. Again, its function is similar to our ring modulator that we have already studied in our theory lecture. Okay, the same principle you can apply. Okay, so basically I will be using this circuit B. Okay, this is the first circuit. Okay, so here you can see that we are having a diode bridge electronic switch. Okay, the second one is the series bridge diode modulator. Okay, so I'm going to use this series bridge diode modulator, this modulator. Okay, so basically this is our circuit A. This has to be connected between this 2 point A and B. You remember that this is our terminal A. Here you can see that this is our terminal A. This has to be connected to A, and this terminal B has to be connected to B. Okay, remember that here you can see that here we have connected a sinusoidal signal. Okay, it is written as A cos omega ct, but normally because we have to use the diode as a switch. Okay, to operate it as a switch, instead of using the sinusoidal wave, we can directly use the square wave. Okay, because if we use the square wave, we already seen that due to use of the square wave, we need to go through the its Fourier series expansion of the square wave that will be giving us different harmonics of the fundamental frequency fc. Okay, so that will be giving you like cos 2 pi fct, then cos 3 pi fct. Okay, sorry, it will be 2 pi fct, then it will be odd harmonics will be available, fc, 3 fc, 5 fc, 7 fc, and so on. And the subsequent side bands will have its decreasing magnitude. Okay, that I have already explained in my theory lecture, so please go through that lecture to clarify your concept. Okay, so basically I will be implementing this circuit in this particular video lecture. So this circuit I have to implement, and then I will be using this particular series bridge diode modulator. So let's see. First of all, we need to take the masses signal. Then we have to implement this circuit, has to be connected at this point, and then we need to make a band pass filter. So let's see onto the multisim. I have already made this circuit. Okay, so you can see this circuit here. So basically, this one is our masses signal. Okay, you just see the first. Here we have the function generator. So from this function generator, I am giving the our masses signal. So I am taking the masses signal as our sinusoidal wave. Okay, just for the simplicity, and I am taking the frequency as 300 hertz. Okay, small frequency I am taking, and its peak amplitude I am taking as a 0.5 volt. Okay, 500 millivolt. So this is our masses signal. Now I have implemented this bridge circuit. Okay, whatever the bridge circuit is given in the book. Okay, this bridge circuit I have implemented. Okay, then I have connected the masses signal to this particular port A. Okay, so here you can see that we have this circuit, and then I have connected this to this particular point. Okay, now this circuit we have to complete, and in between we have to connect our carrier signal. You remember that in the switching modulator we have to use the symmetrical square wave as the carrier. Okay, so here I am using the square wave, symmetrical square wave. Its duty cycle I have taken as a 50%, and the frequency of the square wave I have taken as a 9 kilohertz. If you remember in my previous lectures, in which I have already implemented the various filters such as low pass filters and the band pass filter. If you remember, I had already designed one of the band pass filter whose center frequency was 9.1 kilohertz. Okay, if you remember. Okay, so this is the appropriate band pass filter which will be used here for the filtering purpose. As I said that there will be a large number of harmonics. All those higher harmonics has to be removed from this output of this particular circuit. Okay, so here I am taking the masses signal. This has to be connected to this particular switching modulator. Okay, this diode bridge network, and then this output has to be connected to this particular band pass filter. Okay, from this point. Okay, here you can see in this picture, this B point is connected to this band pass filter. Okay, so in a similar way I have connected here. Okay, it is connected to this band pass filter, and the band pass filter I have taken as a central frequency equals to 9.1 kilohertz. Okay, so if we make this carrier frequency equals to 9 kilohertz, it is sufficiently to obtain the desired output. Okay, we will be able to sufficiently filter out the desired band. Okay, desired frequency band, and all other high harmonics can be removed easily. So this is our circuit. Okay, here we can see the circuit. So please go through my previous lectures. If you don't know how to design the filter, I have already explained in my previous lectures how to design the appropriate band pass filter. I have already taken this from all the previous lectures. Okay, how to get this resistance values and the capacitance value. These things have I have already explained in my previous video lectures. So please, those who haven't watched it, please go to that video lectures and see it for even more clarification of this particular circuit. So after having this one, you can see that if we simulate, okay, if you run this circuit, okay, we are expecting to get the our DSBSC output from this particular band pass filter output point. Okay, so this is our band pass filter, this is our diode network, bridge network, and this is our message signal. So once we'll simulate it, okay, here we can see this one. Okay, so here we can see this one. So please see this. There are two waveforms I have connected in this two channel oscilloscope. Okay, one is the output of this bridge network. Okay, after the multiplication of the two, and then the output of the, here you can see that it is one of the output is the red one denotes the output of our band pass filter. Okay, second order band pass filter, and this yellow line denotes the output of this particular bridge network. Okay, of this particular bridge network. So as we already seen in this picture, okay, here in the book, we have already seen that after doing the multiplication of this two, okay, this message signal and this square wave carrier, we are supposed to get this type of output. Okay, remember that we are supposed to get this this type of output. So here we can see in this output, okay, the yellow line. Okay, you can see this yellow. Okay, only yellow graph we can see. So just for your clarification or make it more clear, I'm just disconnecting the red line. Okay, I'm just disconnecting the red line. Okay, so once we'll disconnect it, okay, we can simulate it again. So now here you can see that we are going to get a similar type of output which is given in the book. Okay, so this is our message signal, and according to the message signal's amplitude, the amplitude of this periodic pulse trend is going to be altered. Okay, so this is our output. Okay, a similar output we are getting that given in the book. Okay, and how this output is coming, I have already explained, okay, in my previous lecture. So please go to that lectures and see it, okay, for more clarification. So this type of output we are going to get. A little bit distortion you might be seeing, okay. There may be a certain difficulty due to certain means inconsistency in the circuit, or you can say due to some oscilloscope problems, okay, but we are getting the desired result. Okay, so you just ignore these pulses. Okay, you just ignore these pulses. Okay, that is not going to deteriorate our output. Okay, so this is our output. Now we can see that what will be the output of our band pass filter. Okay, that we can look at. So now I can stop it and you just make a connection. Okay, I'm just making this connection to the band pass filter output. Okay, and for simplicity you just disconnect this yellow line. Okay, I will be just seeing only one output, okay, at a time. So now if we see this one, okay, here you can see this is our DSBSC output. Okay, this is a very beautiful DSBSC output that we can see here. So here you can see that in the DSBSC signal, as I said, that there will be a phase reversal of the carrier that you are going to observe. So basically in the DSBSC output, we know that this is our message signal. Okay, and accordingly the message signal, the amplitude of the carrier will be decided. Okay, so this is our message signal, okay, envelope, and this is the our carrier whose amplitude is varying as per our message signal. And whenever the message signal is changing its phase, here you can see then there is a 180-degree phase shift of the carrier that can also be observed. So here you can see in the books, okay, you will find that there is a phase reversal. Okay, there is a phase reversal of the carrier. So here you can observe this clearly. Okay, I hope this must be clear. Okay, so I hope, okay, so now it must be visible. So there is a carrier, okay, and based on the amplitude of the message signal, okay, the carrier amplitude is also decided. Okay, it is varying accordingly. And here you can see that when this message signal is changing its phase, there is a phase variation, 180 degree phase variation of the carrier is also taking place. Okay, so same thing we are also observing onto this particular output. Okay, here you can see I just enlarge this output so that you will be able to observe it clearly. This one. Okay, so now you must be able to see there is a 180 degree phase shift of the carrier. So this way we will be able to generate our DSBSC signal very easily by having this switching modulator. So you can see this waveform again. This is our waveform of DSBSC signal. Okay, which is very beautiful output. Okay, that we can obtain. The similar circuit you can also implement onto your breadboard. Okay, so don't bother about whether the same thing can be implemented on the breadboard or not. You have to remember that I have taken this particular diode 1BH62. Okay, I think the normal diode will also work. Okay, you can also take like 1N4001 series or 4007 series. Okay, that will also work. So this way we are able to get the DSBSC output. Now, once we are able to get this DSBSC output, I told you that to demodulate the signal, the only possible method that we can do here is we can use the our synchronous demodulation. Okay, so in the synchronous demodulation, what we do is we have to multiply the carrier. Okay, the same carrier again with this modulated signal. Okay, so what I have done is I have just taken out this particular output, and then again I'm using the same bridge network. Okay, I'm just using the same bridge network, and here instead of giving the square wave, I'm just giving the sinusoidal wave of 9 kilohertz. Okay, you remember that in the actual circuits, okay, we need to have a different type of circuit that will be able to extract the carrier. Okay, this way we don't perform. Okay, what we do is we have to make a circuit that will be able to extract the carrier from the modulated signal itself, because I told you that there should be a phase synchronization and frequency synchronization between the carriers, that whatever we have used at the transmitter side and at the receiver side, if both are same, then only we will be able to extract the masses signal exactly. Otherwise, if we are using a different carrier, there may be a chances that there will be a quadrature null effect and the masses signal can be completely lost. But for the simplification, I have used the same circuit again. Okay, the same circuit I have used here, and instead of using the square wave, okay, in the case of carrier that we have used at the modulator end, we are using here the sinusoidal wave of 9 kilohertz. Okay, the same sinusoidal wave I have used, and after using the same sinusoidal carrier, what we can do is it will be followed by a low pass filter. Okay, it has to be followed by a low pass filter, so that this low pass filter will be able to extract the baseband masses signal. So this is second order low pass filter, and I have already tested this circuit. So after connecting the second order low pass filter, only one stage, we are not able to get the exact output. Okay, that's why I have connected one more stage. Okay, so sometimes it is not possible to get the original message by just having the single stage of the low pass filter. So we need to connect 2 or 3 stages as per our requirement. So you remember that though I am using this particular circuit for demodulating the signal on multisim, you remember that whenever we do this experiment in our laboratory, it will be good to have a carrier extraction circuit. Okay, rather than having this circuit, we need to have the carrier extraction circuit, and that's the carrier. After the extracting the carrier, we can use that carrier to demodulate the modulated DSBSC signal. Okay, so that you remember. So this way we can demodulate the signal. So once you do this simulation, after executing this circuit, we can observe the final output. Okay, so that has to be a sinusoidal wave of same frequency. Okay, so this is our final output of the low pass filter after multiplying this DSBSC signal with the same carrier of same frequency and phase, and then passing it through the low pass filter, second order low pass filter. Please go through my previous lectures to see this low pass filter, how I have chosen this particular values, why it is 1 nanofarad, why it is 10 kilofarad, why it is 5.86. I have already explained it in my previous video lectures, in which I have discussed about the how to design the Butterworth second order low pass filter. So you can see that I have given the masses signal as equals to 300 hertz. Okay, so what will be its time period, its time period will be somewhere around 3.33 milliseconds. Okay, if you calculate it, how much we will be getting? It will be 1 upon 300 hertz. So if you multiply and divide it by 10, so there will be a 3.33 milliseconds. Okay, so that will be our its time period. So that time period you can observe from this waveform. Okay, it is starting from this point and it is ending up to this point. Okay, so here you can just measure it. So you will be getting that way. Okay, so what we can do, we can use this pointer also. Okay, so what is the minimum value? So here you can see that what is the minimum value. So its minimum value is, I think it is coming around as 784. Okay, okay, fine, it is minus 784. Now we can again place the second pointer. Okay, so that value is coming as how much? It is minus 443. Okay, sorry, so minus 443, minus 443. So almost here you can see that this T2 minus T1 is coming as 3.3 milliseconds. Okay, 3.298 milliseconds. If you properly adjust, you are going to get this time period is equals to 3.33 milliseconds. Okay, so this is our desired frequency of the message signal that we have given to this modulator side. The same message signal we are again extracting at the receiver side. So I hope you must have enjoyed this video. So try to implement this circuit. Okay, try to implement this circuit, and I will appreciate all the viewers if they can change the carrier frequency, they can change the message frequency also, and accordingly they can design their own band pass filter. Okay, so as I have taken like 9 kilohertz as the carrier frequency, you may go for 20 kilohertz, 30 kilohertz, and so on, and accordingly you have to design your band pass filter. So I hope you must have enjoyed this video. Please try to implement the same circuit onto your multi-sim, okay, and try to take the observations. If you have any query, any doubt, please feel free to drop your queries into the comment box. So thank you for watching this video. Please stay connected with this channel for more updates. Thank you.